everybody and put those hands together and help me welcome evangelist Pastor BJ with prophetic citations as she gives a word to the nations for the hour. Come on, everybody, give it up for her.
Come on here, clap those hands, all ye people, and glorify the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised, the King of kings and the Lord of lords. You know, the Bible says in the book of Psalms 24:7, lift up your head, O ye gates, and be lifted up.
Hello, everyone. This is Teresa Perkins, editor and host of Exposure Spotlight Magazine, where your voice matters. Today is a very special day, and I am very proud to interview a great friend of mine. She is a counselor, motivational speaker. She's a minister, a producer, writer, director, a singer, and so much more. In 2015, she produced her first single called The King of Glory that has been hitting the charts extremely well. In 2019, she released a stage play and book called The King of Oz, which is in relation to her CD. It gives me great honor to introduce to you Pastor Bridgette Johnson, also known as Pastor BJ. How are you doing?
I am blessed. How are you doing, Teresa?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. Look,
Yes.
you are a pioneer, okay, with many gifts and talents. Can you tell us, how did you get to where you are as of right now as a pastor, producer, and director?
Oh, wow. Do you have about an hour?
We have all the time you need.
But before I answer that, you know, Teresa, I would like to say I am so honored to be a part of Exposure Spotlight Magazine. You're doing great things. I have seen God do some tremendous things, open some tremendous doors with you, and it's a pleasure. And I think God is not finished. It's only the beginning.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that so much. And coming from you, I don't take that lightly. Thank you so much.
So let's get back to the question at hand. How did I get to where I am now? To be honest, Teresa, I never thought I would be a pastor. Coming up, I came up in a somewhat of abusive family. My dad was an alcoholic, so that put a strain on the family as well as my mom and his marriage. And so it kind of left me scarred. I was very bashful, shy, timid. And some people look now and say, nah, I don't believe that. But yes, I was scared of people. I was scared of a crowd of people. And I stayed to myself and I had very few words. I think now I make up for it. But anyway, and God delivered me. He came in my life. I knew God had a call on my life at a young age. I just didn't know how to embrace it. Go about it, and as I grew in the knowledge of Christ, and I started operating in the gifts that God has given me to give back to the community. You know, as far as pastoring, you know, I never forget my husband and I, we were doing Bible study in our home when we moved to Baton Rouge from Walker, and we were praying, and one night after Bible study, my husband says, I think the house is getting a little too small for the crowd. So I think we need to open up a building. And so we began to pray about it, and God gave us an opportunity to get a building, and we started, you know, having church. And it never dawned on me, Teresa, that it was called being a pastor.
Yes.
It just looked like we were just moving from a house to a building to do Bible study, not looking at it as being pastors. And I tell you what, when the reality hit me, I cried some, Teresa. It was like I was sentenced to I don't know what. And I did, because I knew what it called for as being a pastor, and the dedication and the sacrifices that is made. And so when God moved us to that arena, it really was a bittersweet for me in the beginning. And until, we began to walk in it and God began to open up doors where we were able to purchase our own building where we are now. And so here I am, as my husband and I, we both pastor the church, and it's been challenging, but yet it's an office that I wouldn't trade for nothing in the world. Being there for people, meeting people's needs, emotionally, sometimes financially, spiritually, and just all of the above. And so that's how it came about as far as, pastoring. And we've been pastoring over 20 years. So
wow,
we've got a lot of years under our belt.
That is awesome. It is. That is awesome. So awesome. So look, share with us, if you don't mind, just a little bit twist and turn, and then we're going to even get back to, your ministering and all of that. But really the things that you're doing, you're ministering. I mean, when it comes to your stage play production, look, tell us a little bit about King of Oz, because like I said earlier, it has really hit the charts, and people wanting your CD and purchasing it all over the country, the world. And I think people just need to know more too about the King of Oz, if you don't mind sharing that.
Okay, sure. I don't mind. Of course, I was sitting watching TV one day, and I was watching The Wizard of Oz. And I know The Wizard of Oz has been translated into the Junior Wiz, the regular Wiz, so I said, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we had one that was somewhat geared toward that, but it was gospel, where it talked about the issues that plague our community, and to bring it, and put it into performing arts and bring it to the stage. And so I thought about it a little bit, but didn't think much of it. And as time progressed, it became more heavy and heavy in my spirit. And at that time, I was on Fox 44. I had a TV talk show called For Mad, For Making a Difference. And it was dealing with community issues. And I would bring people on who's making a prominent difference within the community. And I woke up about 2 years ago in January. And I woke up and God said, this is the year to write. And I'm like, okay, to write what? You remember 2 years ago, I brought that to your attention, how it would be great to have a gospel on the lines of The Wizard of Oz. And I'm like, okay. He says, this is the year to write. And I'm like, but I don't know how to write. He says, I'm gonna teach you how to write. And so I had so much on my plate at that time. I had UWM, which was a United Women Outreach Ministry that we were doing in the inner city, feeding the hungry. What we were doing, tutoring. We was doing so much conference, different things like that into the community. And so my plate was real full. And so when I woke up 2 years ago in January, God said, call Fox 44 and give them your 30-day notice. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I called my husband. I said, you know what? I said, I'm about to give Fox 44 my 30-day notice. And he says, what? What's wrong? I said, nothing is wrong. Matter of fact, everything is going great. Our fan base had built up to the point where people was looking at For Mad, For Making a Difference on purpose and wasn't accidentally, dropping in, but they were looking at it on purpose. And, and so that was a blessing. We were at the highlight of For Mad, For Making a Difference. And for God to come in and say, look, put in your 30-minute notice, that just blew my mind. And so, I called Fox 44 and I told them I was putting in my 30-day notice, and they were like, is something wrong? Did we do something wrong? What's wrong? We'll fix it, because I had been with them like 2 years. So we had built a business partnership. And so I said, no, nothing is wrong. I said, but my time here for now is up. God is moving me in another direction. And so I put in my 30-week notice and I started writing. And when I started writing, God gave me the title, The King of Uz. And a lot of people don't know UZ, where it comes from, but it's really an actual place in the Bible. In the book of Job, the Bible said that Job was the richest man in the East, in the land of Uz. So it's really a real place. It's not a fairy tale. It's really a real place, Uz, where Job lived. And so I just began to write. And it took me about 4 months. It took me about 4 months to write. With everything off my plate, it took me about 4 months to write. And I wrote, and then I started having, auditions. And of course, I was honored to have you. You was one of the judges. You remember?
Yes, I do. I do.
You were one of the
privileged
judges.
and honored too to be a part of that. Yes.
You was one of the judges, as long with a couple more people who was very, eager to help out and help pick the cast for the King of Uz. And so from there, God started blessing. We started writing the songs, the original songs. All our songs for the King of Uz is original. And man, I could not have did it without Carolyn. She is awesome. She's a great writer, a great musician. With her by my side, we did that, and we started touring from May 4th of last year was our first time bringing the production to the stage. And from then on, we were booking every month.
Wow.
Every month we were booking up until the end of last year. And it was our endeavor to start touring this year in March. We had our first production out in Walker, Louisiana. Of course, COVID said otherwise. And so here we are, in a pandemic that still have a great stage play that so many people that I feel need to see it. And we deal with so many issues, issues such as gang and gun violence, rape and molestation, cancer. We deal with PK kids, preachers' kids. We deal with domestic violence. It was just so much bullying, suicide. Man, we dealt with all of that. And so many people walked away from that stage play so blessed by it, And so I'm just honored that God used me to produce, to write it, and direct it. And it was very challenging, Teresa. It was times, I'm gonna tell you, I thought I was just gonna lose my little mind.
And that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. What were some of the challenges that you faced, doing that production and being really as a producer, period? What are some of the challenges that you had?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, our first challenge is always us. We are our worst critic. And so there's a saying, inner me. Inner me is the enemy. Inner me is the enemy. So the enemy is going to always start with inside of us. And so I had to deal with that ghost first. And what I mean by that, being that I had never been a producer, I had never wrote a script. I wrote a song in 2015, but I promise you, a song is nothing like 100-page script and putting character and personality to it. And I had became my worst enemy. And I remember someone asking me, as far as producing, well, have you ever produced a stage play before? And I'm like, no. And, and I began to question myself, well, are you capable of doing this? And so those were one of the challenges that I had, that people were gonna see me as not as a producer or a director and not support the work. But God blew my mind, Baton Rouge was so good to us when we brought the King of Us to the stage. We sold out. We had over 500 and we had to turn people down. That was our first production date, May 4th. And people were wanting it all over. And I give God the glory and the honor, you know. So those were some of my challenges as a producer, as a director, you know, just kind of pretty much feeling my way, learning as I go, and God teaching me. And so he sent me a great cast. They were awesome, great talent, so gifted, you know, multi-talented. And so that helped me out as well. That was less work that I had to do. So that's pretty much some of the challenges that I had, me being my worst critic and, you know, having to hear some negativity of, you didn't go to school for this, you know, I know that, but I'm trusting God. So it really was a faith walk for me, and God really proved himself faithful.
Well, I would say that he did, because it was a spectacular production.
Amen.
Awesome, as if you had 20 years or more of experience of putting that together. So when God gives you something anyway, he's going to give you every guidance and direction and the platform. He's going to put it all together for you, and you did just that. Of course, you know, in this country and this world, and as long as you're dealing with people, you're going to always have some type of negativity. And we have to learn. We take those negativism, and we learn from them. I consider them to be constructive criticism. But however, still at this point in the moment, I will say this: you did a wonderful job, and I believe that you're just going higher and higher. God is doing some great things with you in your production. So just keep on keeping on, no matter what it looks like and what the circumstances and the trials and the tribulations, because we're going to have those. And we just have to learn and grow from them as well. So from my understanding, Pastor BJ is working on another great production, right?
Yes. If you can see behind me, this is the banner coming to the stage 2021. Can't Breathe. Stage play. Can't Breathe.
Now tell us, how did you come up with that title?
Well, that wasn't hard. You know, of course it was during the pandemic, and we had so much time, you know, on our hands, thinking, some people writing books, just different things like that. And of course, during my times of being in, shut in, looking at the pandemic, looking at racism that was at an all-time high, still at an all-time high, police brutality was at its highest, as well as black-on-black crime. And so God began to speak to me. You know, you see a lot of people have platforms as far as going to the state capitol, marching, and just different things like that to express how they feel about racism and the injustice in this country. But God spoke to me and he says, I have given you a platform, which is performing arts. Take that issue, which is a big issue, and put it on a platform into performing arts. You know, that way it'll bring all of us together under one roof, you know. And so I began to do that, and I began to partner with another production company, Rosalind Allen production company, and she and I began to put our heads together, because two heads are better than one. And so we began to co-write together, and we just finished up our auditions for Can't Breathe, and we have some awesome, once again, we have an awesome cast. They are very talented. Matter of fact, I have a couple of them that are coming over from the King of Us. They following me. So I'm excited about that. I'm humbled that they still, you know, that they want to follow me from one stage play to the next. That speaks volumes to me. And so we're excited about what God is doing with Can't Breathe. Hopefully we can bring it to the stage if COVID will allow us in 2021. And so once again, we're super excited about that.
Oh, that is great. That is so awesome. Now, of course, you spoke about I Can't Breathe. And, of course, I know that a lot of that, like you said, that wasn't probably hard for you to come up with that title. However, with the racism and everything that has taken place, are those some of the things that we can look forward to seeing in the stage play? Are you going to emphasize some of that, or can you
Oh
give
yeah,
us just a little piece, a little something of what you're gonna actually showcase?
yes, ma'am, most definitely. Can't Breathe, of course, does deal, once again, as I first stated, deal with the issues. But me being a pastor, you always want to bring balance to any situation, any issue. And the balance to me is always keeping Christ as the centrality of it all. And sometimes we try to get solutions and results without God. And so that's what my play embraces, that we deal with the issues, but as well, we deal with the solution, not a solution. We deal with the definite article of the solution, which is God, because God is the one that comes in and changes a man's heart from being prejudiced to love. And so if we're going to win this war called racism, we're going to have to do it through God. And that's one of the things I want to stress so bad. There's nothing wrong with marching. There's nothing wrong with talking to our officials and voting in people who's going to make great change in that arena. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, please, let's not keep God out of the equation. Because
Amen.
Because God is love.
Yes,
and if we're going to see a change in people's lives, you cannot change a person's actions without changing their heart. And so sometimes we go by the wrong way. We try to change their actions without changing their heart. You change a man's heart, and then his actions is going to automatically follow. And that's my belief. And so those are one of the trajectories that we're bringing to the table concerning Can't Breathe. And I want to bring balance. I want to bring balance just as much as we have police brutality, as well as we have black on black crime. So not only are the police is taking some of our young black men out, but some of our black men taking our own black men out.
Come on now.
So we just have an issue across the board, and I want to bring balance to that. And my subtitle to Can't Breathe is, it's not black, it's not white,
yes,
but right.
I like that. Not black, not white, but right. You're absolutely correct.
And we have a multi cultural cast. So we do have Caucasians in our stage play. I refuse to bring Can't Breathe to the stage if I can't have both African American, brown, Caucasians in it, because it takes all of us to tell the story. It's not one side. It's not just a black issue. It's not a white issue, but it's what's right, doing what is right. And so that's what I'm bringing to the table. And not all policemen are bad.
Right.
Mind you, we need the good police, because some of these people can be acting kind of. So, we need police. We need order in our city. We need order in our state, So we need our police officers. So everybody is not bad. And so those are the type of things that I want to bring to the table, and that Can't Breathe embraces. Not black, not white, but we want to bring right. We want to bring balance to the table and keep God in the equation.
That is awesome. So what time frame, and I know with the pandemic is really kind of hard and tough to say, but do you have a set time or goal perhaps of in 2021 that perhaps maybe we'll be seeing I Can't Breathe production?
Yes. Well, like I said, if COVID, treat us good and God, come on in and keep COVID on out of here. Hopefully we're looking at late spring. Okay. Hopefully we can bring it late spring. And like I said, if all goes well, with COVID and just different things like that, where we're able to congregate. Even we're working on, even if we're still in, I don't know, level 2 or even to move to level 3, where we are able to come together with some percentage of people being in the building, we're still kind of working on a plan B or even something virtually. So, because we believe this is a stage play that everybody needs to see, and it's going to bring balance and open it up, the eyes of the people. And hopefully we can come up with a solution. Do I think this stage play is going to solve the racism problem? No, I don't think nothing is going to solve the racism problem. I think racism is going to be here till Jesus Christ comes back, but we can have it better. We can make it equal across the board. We can have justice in our justice system. That I do believe.
Yes, I agree with you as well.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I'm excited. Can't wait to see it. And you did mention about virtual. I think that would be great, because one thing we cannot do is allow the pandemic to hold us back on the things that God has us to do. So could that be something that's on the back burner, or concern or consideration of maybe doing the play or some parts of it virtually? Is that something could be considered, or have you all thought about it, you and Ms. Roslyn?
I always say, when there's a purpose, there is a push. And we as a people have to learn how to push our purpose right through, And so that's where we are. We have to get creative, as the pandemic, do what it's doing. We as people who are creative, those that have purpose and those that have dreams, we have to get creative and say, God, what can we do to bring this vision or this dream to the table when we can't congregate? And so God is going to always have a ram in a bush. He's going to always have a platform in which we can operate and bring our dreams to fruition. So most definitely going virtual will be one of the avenues that we would be looking at to bring Can't Breathe to the stage.
Okay. Well, look, let me ask you this too before we end our conversation, and it's been wonderful. I really have enjoyed it tremendously. But as a pastor or minister, in what capacity has the pandemic impacted perhaps your church or just the church in general and those who are believers?
Well, it has impacted very heavily, like I said, emotionally, financially, spiritually, across the board. The pandemic has affected us. Me personally, I believe the pandemic can be used as an awakening. Did God bring it? No. But is He allowing it? Probably so, because sometimes we need an awakening of ourselves and our surroundings. And so it has impacted our churches so tremendously. Those that have about 10 or 20 members now have to go virtually, where virtually was only for churches that was mega. Now you got churches of all caliber having to go virtual, whether you have 10 members, whether you have 1,000 members. Everybody, is going virtual because everybody is afraid of the pandemic. So like I said, the pandemic is real, and so we do want to honor the restrictions as far as social distancing, but it has impacted tremendously as far as pastoring, trying to keep your flock, those that are around you, encouraged, seeing the light in all of this. Sometimes it can be hard to see a light in a dark situation. And as pastors, especially as pastors, as leaders, we have to stay before God and making sure that we are encouraged so we can encourage others that is around us and be that voice and that platform for those that can't speak. And I always say you cannot give what you don't have. And so as leaders, we have to constantly be before God and making sure that we are encouraged and knowing that trouble don't last always, you know, that it might be dark times now, but the light is coming and it is already here. And so just for the manifestation, you know, time that it will come up on the scene and the pandemic will be history. So on that note, it has been a great hardship in all areas financially. Like I said, some people, sad to say, has fallen away, you know, by the wayside in all of this. Some people are depressed. You'd be surprised. So many church people are on depression medicine, just coping. You know, just coping, you know, just don't have that coping mechanism because nobody really saw this pandemic coming. It didn't come through the front door. It came like a thief and a robber. It came through the windows and through the back door, you know? And so, and it's robbing and it's taking our loved ones with them, you know? So, you know, my heart goes out to everybody that has lost loved ones and friends because of this pandemic. I know pastors and leaders who lost their fight to this pandemic. You know, so it's hurting people on all levels, you know, and we must stay vigilant and we must stay, you know, before God, you know, and keep our loved ones and our family and our friends before, you know, before God, that we can ride this thing through. And that
yes. Let me ask you this too. Do you think that this pandemic is creating or will create a new world order?
Well, I tell you what, it's headed that way. You know, the Bible talks about precept upon precept, line upon line. You can't get to Z without going A, B, C, and the list go on and on. So there, I think it's setting up to some degree for prophecy in time. I most definitely believe that it is a setup for the end time prophetic, for those that embrace and believe in the prophetic. And one thing I like about prophetic, it works and it's gonna happen whether you believe in it or not. You know, it's like Jesus Christ. Just because you doesn't believe in him doesn't make him Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know, it become your loss. So I do believe that it is setting up, you know, for world order, and that's a whole nother taping all by itself. Yeah. When you're dealing with end time prophetic and dealing with, you know, diseases and certain viruses that can't be cured, and just the different ways that our political arena is handling it has become an end time prophetic. It's not so much the disease itself, but it's the way that our government is handling it that's opened the door to the end time prophetic. If you can understand that, if I make myself clear. Yeah, so it's across the board. So yes, I do believe, but I believe this, Teresa, as well. I believe that once we get over the pandemic of COVID-19, if it's not that, it's going to be something else. So I always tell people to prepare in your heart for the end time prophecy. You know, these things is going to be. They're going to happen. It's how we handle them that determines our victory and our outcome and our triumph. So,
and you know, and the key to that, and you mentioned it earlier, it's a four-letter word, LOVE. That is the key. And when people gather that, then this world will be a better place, and there will be a difference of things that we will see. But as long as people continue to have the hatred,
that's right,
allow the racism and different things to take place in their heart, like you said, because that is the first thing that God sees is our heart. So with that being said, people do need to have love. And I think about the song that my dad recorded before he passed away. And that song is, "The world needs more love."
Yes.
And that is so true. Yes. And so there will be a difference, and can be a difference if people have that they have LOVE. So I agree with you tremendously.
You know, Teresa, that's the cure to hate is love. Yeah. But the reality of it is everybody won't embrace love. So you're going to always have people with hatred, you know? And so that's what we're dealing with. But we can make this world a better place. Love, where love can overpower or overshadow those that do decide to hate. Because love and hate, it is a choice. You have to choose that.
Right.
You have to choose to want to love. You have to choose whether you want to hate or not hate. Those are learned behaviors, you know. And so just like you learn them, you can unlearn them.
Yep, I agree. Well, look, this interview and conversation, I must say, with you, Pastor BJ, Pastor Bridgette Johnson, has been wonderful. I have enjoyed every bit of it. I would like for you to share with our listening audience before we leave, what message or encouragement that you can leave and give them to help them to get through their day-to-day tasks, and to know that there's a light. There is a light that we all will get to. And you even mentioned that there is a light as of right now. Some people may be seeing some dark times or what have you, because we do have to face reality that there are some dark times, and there are situations that may not look as bright as others. But we definitely, and I know that you can, and I would love for you to give some type of message or encouragement to those that are listening, because people are really truly going through something. They're losing loved ones. If they're not losing them, they're in the hospital. They're sick and don't even know if they're going to see their loved ones again or what have you. So, if you can, please just give some type of encouragement or message or something before we end our conversation.
Okay, Teresa, and I just want to say it has been an honor and a pleasure to be on Exposure Spotlight Magazine. It's been an honor. I want to leave with those that are listening, that are viewing, some words of encouragement. I wish I had something new to tell you, but there's no new thing under the sun that the Bible says. Old-fashioned, Teresa, we're just going to have to go back to trusting God.
Yes.
Not trusting in ourselves, not trusting in the material things that we have, that we possess, not even trusting in the gifts and the talents. And they all fine and good. But I tell you what, when your back is against the wall and you're going through COVID, those gifts and those talents can't do anything for you. You know? And so on that note, we have to simply go back to trusting God, a 4-letter word, but that means and carries so much volume. T-R-U-S-T, trust. T-R-U-S-T, trust. We have to go back to trusting God. And that's my answer. That's my only solution. We're going to have to trust God, because it's Him that is in control.
Yes.
And it's not us. So if we trust Him, that is the creator of all things, then He is the one that can bring us out. If He brought us out back then, He's capable of bringing us out now, because He is a right now God. He is the present help. He's omnipotent and He's omnipresent. And if we hold on to that with everything that we got, even with those loved ones that are going through COVID, and you're watching them take their last breath on that oxygen machine. I have seen so many people give so many testimonies that my mom or my dad was on that oxygen machine, but God walked in that room. Hope walked in that room. The doctor of all doctors walked in that room and breathed the breath of life. And my mom and my dad is now breathing on their own. Yeah. Know that God can do it. Yes. And that's my final words. You have to believe that God can do it with everything in you. Don't look for no new thing. There's no new solution. It's Jesus, and it's going to always be Jesus.
Yes. Amen, sister. Look, I agree with you 150 above percent. Look, he is the answer to all things. And I hope that your encouragement or your message has helped someone just to get through, their day or their week or their month. Just know that God, if you continue to trust God and love him, then all things will come together. People need to know that. So those of you who are listening, I hope you are and have been encouraged by Pastor Bridgette Johnson in some type of way. I know she has encouraged me tremendously, as always. And I appreciate this opportunity to interview you, because you are definitely worthy of it, and God has so much more for you as well. And greater is coming, and we appreciate the things that God has done at this very moment.
Amen.
The things that we do, we have to appreciate, to know that God still allow us to be here for a purpose and a reason. But we want to encourage those who lost their loved one. Just know that God, God is a God of all.
Yes.
No matter what it may seem like, just know that he's there. He would never leave us. He says that in the Bible. He would never leave us nor forsake us. Just always remember that.
That's right.
To remember that in the beginning was the Word of God.
Amen.
I do want you to share with everyone, if they have an interest in just reaching out to you, to where they can contact you in some type of way. Maybe it's an actor, it's a singer, a musician, or just a booking agent or a promoter who would love to have you to, showcase the play to, when you go on this tour, that you can go to city and who knows, even to another country or what have you. So can you give that information, how people can reach you in doing that?
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. You can reach me at area code 225-287-4369. And I do have a website, but I'm in transition of bringing it up to par since the pandemic. But you can reach me at that number, as well as just quickly, I have the King of Us, amen, game as well.
We have to discuss that. For sure.
I know, another time. And I have the book as well. It is awesome. Right now, I'm dealing with the manufacturing for the game. And so hopefully I have some, hopefully maybe by the end of this year. And anytime you want to get in touch with me or pick up my book or a game, you can always come at our place of business, JJ's Inspection. That's 6710 Plank Road, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70811. You can always reach out there and get in touch with me. And
are you taking any pre-orders on your games?
Well, the games will be here pretty soon.
Okay.
But if I do have people that do want to pre-order, most definitely I will work with them concerning that. But I tell you what, you want this game in your possession. It's awesome. And it's not because I created it, but it's because God is the author of it.
All right now. I like it.
I'm super excited. Game time is family time. And so you will love the game.
That's awesome. Also, they can reach you on social media as well, right?
That's right. You can reach me on social media, Bridgette Johnson on Facebook, as well as Instagram, Prophetic Citations. That's it. Yeah, I think it is. That's it. Facebook and Instagram. You can reach me there. And so we're super excited about what God is doing. God is doing some great things, even in the pandemic. You have to know that you have to push even through the pandemic. God is doing great things.
Right. Well, great. Pastor Bridgette Johnson, once again, thank you for all of the great information and sharing your story and your testimony and everything that is so great and awesome about you. Truly, again, I enjoyed this conversation with you. And so thank you so much for being a part of Exposure Spotlight Magazine, because Pastor Bridgette Johnson, your voice matters.
Amen.
God bless you.
Bless you, bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rose Ella Sweets, bringing you the best for any occasion: weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, parties. You haven't tried any sweets until you have tried Rose Ella cakes, pies, pralines. Call us at 225-937-3536, 225-937-3536. Exposure Spotlight Magazine, bringing you the best in news, entertainment, music, beauty, fashion, celebrity interviews, political issues, spotlighting local and national businesses, health and fitness, inspirational morals and values. If you would like to be featured and have a story to share, give us a call at 225-394-7200 or email us at exposurespotlightmagazine@gmail.com. Again, you can reach us at 225-394-7200, where your voice matters. Exposure Spotlight Magazine.